This is Paul Hamilton. What we're going to do today is we're going to look at all the possibilities for trike flight suits. So let's take a look. First thing we're going to do is we're going to head into my office and we're going to see what I typically get people fitted up into. Let's go. We're headed into the operation. First and most important thing is I have a nice flight shirt, such as this, to go underneath everything. But here what I've got flight suits, small, medium, large, extra large, double extra large, triple extra large, and I actually got a super 4 extra large for those 6'6", 250-pound guys, which I've had a number of. Now these are actually go-kart suits. This is the K1. This is the Sparko, which was compliments of Jerry Charlebois over in Hawaii when I was flying for him. And we've also got the Lyco. And it turns out that I'm essentially settling on these K1s overall. You can put someone in here. There's no pockets for anything to fly out of. They look pretty sharp, so here you go. And these flight suits are basically what I stick my students into. I've got my own flight suit that I've rigged up. First off, let me show you what I think is the optimum flight suit. This is my summer flight suit. It's actually a paragliding flight suit. The nice thing about it is that you can put it on with boots or whatever you want to put on. And you don't have to take your shoes off or anything else to get a flight suit on. That always seems to be ridiculous. And there you go. The flight suit's on. This way, if it's during the summer, you can unzip it here. You can unzip it here, and you're pretty much free to air yourself out. What a great flight suit! I wish the other flight suits were built this way. This is the optimum. I think I'm going to build some trike flight suits so I can basically get what I want. There you go. And then of course you can layer underneath this a little bit. What I do is I put this layer on underneath to warm up a little bit. Okay, let me show you another flight suit. This is very, very popular. This is the Aussie. Okay, now this is okay. You put it on like this. You get it up like this, and then you have to reach down here and zip it up. So I would say this is like, as far as a complete flight suit, this is probably the second best. One thing about it though, is the way these things are sized. The British, where this comes from, must have really short legs, because these legs are just always way shorter to be useful. It looks pretty funny overall. But they do. It is a nice warm flight suit overall. As you can see, it's more of a really kind of a pain to put on and off, having to bend down and zipper everything up. At least you don't have to take your boots off. Why they don't improve the zipper system on this flight suit, then they would really have a nice system. They're not styled to look very flattering either, but so be it. And then of course if you're a guy and you want to take a leak, it's not too bad, but not made for that very easily. And it's got a nice pocket up here. It's got a nice side pocket here. Nice big side pocket for different things can go in here. Pockets here. A nice little map thing here if you can want to map down here for whatever frequencies. You know, overall pretty nice. I would call this the second best overall flight suit for general getting in and out of. Not bad, but of course, why they make these legs so short, I will never figure out. If I was going to order another one of these, I would ask for the legs, about another 4 inches, so it would go down and look presentable rather than be too short. But there's the Aussie flight suit, a very good option. Most people will swear by these. These are probably the most popular trike suit out there. Now let me show you about being warm. No matter what anybody tells you, if you really want to be comfortable while flying in the winter, you've got to have electrically heated clothing. Otherwise, you're just going to get cold. With electric heated clothing, you can be up for hours and you're warm and comfortable. Underneath the flight suit is the electric vest. As we can see here, this actually plugs in. This goes underneath the flight suit right over the shirt. You try and keep it as close as possible to your skin, but not right on the skin. That's why a nice flight shirt such as this works out very nice to put, and then the flight suit goes over this. The vest plugs in, and we'll look at that here in a minute. The other important thing about winter flying is that these boots are actually heated. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out here so you can see it. Here it is. This is the electric foot warmer. Okay, plugs in, as you can see it right here. This goes into the boot. This gives you 11 watts on each foot. And if it's 20 degrees outside, my students have reported that their feet feel almost hot. It's a good start on staying warm. So here you go. So we've got the electric vest, we've got the electric boots, and we've got the electric gloves, which we'll look at when we go out here. And let me show you what I've actually done for winter. I've showed you the heated boots, and I've actually got socks here. They don't make the socks anymore, so you've got to go with the liners. That's just as good, a nice pair of boots. But let me show you what I've done here. This is what I actually use for winter. I may do something different, but we'll see. Okay, of course this is nice and easy to get into without boots. Zips down. These are actually ski pants. Okay. What I've got is a lead right here, and this goes down to both of plug-ins where I plug in my socks or plug in the boots. Lead for that. So these plug directly into the socks when you put those on. Just like that. And then I've got my heated vest. Okay, now this has a separate lead, and I'll show you that why in a minute. And then I've got my jacket. I've got my main plug-in for my jacket here. This plug-in for my jacket goes to the pants. I plug into the power here. This plug-in goes to the pants. One plug-in that goes into the trike right here. And then I essentially have my gloves plugged in like this. Wire run up through the jacket to the gloves here, and another wire that goes down to the boots as I showed you there. So that way, one plug-in and you're set for gloves and boots. If you want to, you can connect the vest to that also. Now, why didn't I connect the vest to this system? Why am I doing it? Let me show you. Let me take you over to the trike and show you the system there. Is because this vest, I can run 2 pairs of boots, 2 pairs of gloves, and at idle on a 582, I can generate enough electricity with a Rotex to supply that. When I plug in a vest plus 2 sets of gloves, 2 sets of boots, at idle, I'm using more power than can be produced. So once I go up to around 3,300 RPM, I can run a vest. Now, when I add 2 vests for a passenger, then I had to do something different. Let me show you that. Now, how I've got this set up is I've got, and I'll just show you this one side. This is for the passenger's students' gloves. This is for their boots. So I can plug them in, walk them over, and plug them into here. My particular plug-in is my one plug-in is right here. I do have a one switch that heats this system. I've got a separate switch here which goes to this system. This is where I plug in the vests. The vest, this is a heat controller, so I can turn the vest down, and instead of producing 77 watts, I can turn the vest down so that I can produce enough electricity with my engine to supply that. And so that's how that works with a vest. And I turn this to about half, and that seems to work out pretty well. If I'm at idle, yeah, I'm draining the battery a little bit. When I bring it back up, I'm not draining the battery. That tends to work out really good for cold environments. So let me just give you a close-up here and show you this. Here's where I plug in my power. This one switch right here operates all the gloves and the socks. This other switch here, this operates the vests with the controller here that can turn the vest up and down. Now, luckily with this instrument panel, I've actually got the supply voltage here, and we can see that right now the battery just sitting is at 12.4. Generally, if you're below 12.4 volts, if that goes down to 11.9 or 12, you know that you're draining the battery a little bit. Typically, when the engine is running, that is supplying 13 volts. That allows it to be charging, and that tells you whether you're charged. So here, if you're, and I notice that with these switches, when I turn the aux switch on, allowing the vest to go on full, this drains my voltage down. So that's a good monitor of how to determine your electrical needs. Now, if you don't have this fancy of a panel, you can always install a voltmeter. Anything so you know what your voltage is. But I can tell you that you can run 2 pairs of boots and 2 pairs of socks. That's 22, 44, 88 watts at idle with a 582. The 912 handles a little bit more than that. So there you go. There's your heating systems. Make sure all your switches are off. And I've got switches on here too, just to make sure that you're not going to be overdoing that, because I tell you, the electric heating draws a lot of wattage. So there you go. So there's the overall how to dress for winter and stay warm.